But anyway, we'll get to the dollar to start things off as always. So USD, not much to report on, to be honest. Price is still finding it difficult trying to break through this zone here at 97.7, 97.8. We have this corrective channel which price has been respecting pretty well, and it looks to me that price has just pushed, has made a move to the lower end of the channel. So we did see a bit of a reaction from this zone. Like I said, I do like shorts from this area, but I would keep it very intraday, not looking for any big swing, because I do think the bigger move for the USD is to the upside. Now, we have been moving within this channel, and I wouldn't really confirm that bullish bias until we probably show signs of breaking out of this channel. So if you could see a strong move clearing the channel to the upside, something that resembles this particular move, then yes, I would be more than happy to find some higher lows. I would be expecting a lot more strength for the dollar. At the moment, we are still within the channel, still potentially could react and see another lower high, another push down. That's of course 100% a possibility. And we of course saw yesterday a slight reaction to the downside, but nothing really significant. So I do think we can probably see another rally back into resistance, and we'll go from there. Perhaps there's some more selling opportunities on the lower time frames for another push down. Perhaps we see a break lower. Like I said, I'm not really interested because I do think the dollar is quite tired. I think we're running out of steam, and I do think we will see a pretty big move to the upside at some point. It might not happen now necessarily. We could still see another swing lower, and then suddenly price might recover after that. So it doesn't have to be specifically now. That's why I would expect the bigger move to be to the for the DXY. So as a swing trader looking for the bigger swings in the market, I have to be patient and wait for those opportunities to form. At the moment, not quite there yet. So intraday level, sure, I think there could be some shorts to look out for, particularly if we can get back to the high around 97.8, right to the high of this area. That could be a smart place to short, provided there is some nice confirmations to back that up. But USD still in resistance. Doesn't make sense to buy the market now anyway. If anything, some shorts look the best. EURUSD, kind of the same situation, although we're not really at a significant level just yet like the dollar is. I like this level here just below us. Prior resistance, once over there, second time over there. Lovely break to the upside. This, of course, will be acting as support. So, again, looking at EURUSD, how we'll be moving within this channel. Looking at the highs, looking at the lows. I think this is a great area of confluence, and I would definitely keep an eye for some buys, especially on the short-term point of view. If you're looking at like hourly and below, I think this is a nice place to hold a trade maybe for a day or two. Again, I'm not necessarily banking on a big push to the upside. Same logic applies for the DXY as with EURUSD. I think this is a smart place for a buy if we can see some strong signs of rejection, wicks, candlestick formations. This would be a smart place for a buy. Perhaps we do form another higher low in this sequence, so that very well could be the case. Of course, if you see signs of price breaking through the zone, strong bearish engulfing candles, a lot of bearish momentum, no real signs of rejection, then we're probably looking at a breakout, and perhaps we're looking at some pullbacks to keep shorting. So that's where I think the bigger move is for euro to the downside. Of course, not here yet. Got to be patient for that. At the moment, we're still just about bullish, but we're very corrective. So I'm not expecting crazy momentum to the upside because of how we're operating. It's very corrective price action. So I do expect us to eventually sell off. But for now, we'll see how price reacts with this level. It's a very interesting area of confluence. I kind of like how we're pulling back as well. It's quite slow, quite corrective, which does kind of play into the hands of the buyers at this area. But of course, we'll wait for price to get there first, and then we'll justify any entries if the price action shows signs of rejection. But at the moment, there might be some lower time frame opportunities. We have kind of pushed back into resistance supply. This might be a nice place for a short on the low time frames, which we can take a look at a little bit later. But that's kind of the area of confidence I'll keep an eye on. Pound USD, same situation really, in terms of, again, we've got another ascending channel. As you can see, just connecting the highs, connecting the lows. Price has been pretty consistent here with pound. We spoke about a retest of this area as an area which makes sense again for a buy. Very similar opportunity to Euro, except this one focuses a bit more on a strong area of demand where we had a bit of consolidation, then a strong break to the upside, looking for us to revisit that same area, which of course coincides with the trend line pretty well. Could be a very smart place for a buy. Maybe if you can get another one of these wicks over in that area, that could be a strong sign for the buyers. If of course we don't see that and price starts to break strongly below, that would confirm the bearish bias and the fact that pound USD might be running out of steam. And now we could be looking at a pullback and some shorting opportunities to take price lower. So again, that's kind of the short bias, but we're not there yet, so still being patient. At the moment, price kind of hovering, not really in any area of significance. I'm not so keen about trading price right now. Again, looking to see what we can do as we do push into the lower end of the larger channel, coming back into that area of demand. I think this is a smart place for a buy for pound. It might not see a massive swing. We could do, but I think it's a smart area for a buy. It might last for a day. It might last for a session. It might last for a couple of weeks. We're not to know. That's where the management comes into play. But in terms of the location and the smartness of finding entries in this area, I think makes sense. Smart place for a stop loss as well, and possibly could still take advantage of a pretty big swing there. So I like the buys at 1.35. Let's wait for price to get there, then see if the entries are justified or if we should stay away. Dollar CAD, this one's been a little bit up and down, starting to lack momentum a little bit. I've been pretty bullish on dollar CAD after price broke out of this descending channel. You know, we were looking pretty bearish for quite a while, moving pretty well. Price broke to the upside on Monday, and we've been looking pretty bullish since then, but recently we have become a little bit corrective at the highs, and you can see momentum is not quite there yet. So with dollar CAD, the bias for the week was a pushback to the highs here. We've come about halfway, maybe just past halfway before we've kind of seen that target hit. I did speak about some areas here for a pullback and a buying opportunity. I think it still looks good, but I'm not the fan of how we've been moving. It's a very corrective drive higher, which doesn't really show much momentum. So at the moment, we are a little bit flat here for dollar CAD, and perhaps we are going to push lower to go and find some more buyers. Could even see a world where we do push right back into these lows before we do even push up as well. At the moment, price is kind of in the middle of nowhere. Maybe respecting some structure on the left here, but nothing that would get me excited about an opportunity for dollar CAD. I would still be pretty bullish on this pair, but I would be looking for a much deeper pullback, whether it is a push back into this zone or even a push back into the double bottom level down here as well. Again, have to be careful with the buys as well for dollar CAD. The market is still bearish. Yes, we're looking for that counter trend move, but the market is still bearish. We are still forming lower lows and lower highs, and the general momentum for the market is down. So we have to be patient, wait for strong signs before jumping into any opportunities, and being very kind of flexible with your targets. You know, you might have a target up here, but maybe you're seeing some signs, some red flags coming to the market. Maybe it makes sense to take some partials or close the trade a little bit early, or lock in some gains already because you're seeing some signs that maybe price isn't going to push there, at least not at the moment. So you want to stay vigilant to that. But yeah, looking for price to come lower. Still looking for buying opportunities for dollar CAD, 1.362, 1.355. And we'll see how price operates at those levels. In terms of Aussie dollar, this one's been so corrective as well. I'm actually looking pretty bullish this morning. Maybe I do get the push to the upper end of the channel, which I've been looking for. But as you can see, price has been doing a pretty good job at staying within the channel, apart from maybe the fake out over here. But for the most part, we've just been back and forth within the channel. I'm looking to see what price can do at the upper end of the channel now, around about 0.662. I think that could be a smart place for a short to take it back down again. I haven't really been interested with the price for Aussie dollar until we get back to that level, because all we're doing is fluctuating within the channel. So the smartest place to get short would be the up end of the channel. The smartest place to get long would be the lower end of the channel. In the middle is where a lot of the noise is, so I want to stay away from that as much as possible. So with Aussie dollar, if we can drive back to the upper end, as long as we can see some healthy rejection, I would be happy to find some shorts at the high there and see if I can take it to the lower end, and we'll go from there. But yeah, Aussie dollar is coming back into the middle. I'm not really seeing much of an opportunity, especially from a swing bias as well. So let's see if we can get a drive back to the upper end around 0.662 and hopefully get some selling opportunities back into the lower end. New Zealand dollar, pretty much the same situation. This one has been moving in a ascending channel as well. Maybe not as aggressively as Aussie dollar, but pretty much the same effect. Swing, 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 swing. So the market's been back and forth. Recently, again, a strong rejection at the upper end of the channel. We've seen a nice push down. I think this would be a great place for possibly some long opportunities if price was to revisit that level. At the moment, we're kind of in the middle of everything. So again, not so keen about jumping into buys or sells in this area, because this is like slap bang in the middle of the range, which is where you're going to get the most fluctuation. Might see a bit of range bound price action. Stop loss is a bit more vulnerable at these prices here. I'd rather be operating at the high or at the low. So again, not really too interested with the price action with New Zealand dollar. I would be bearish, looking for a push to the low end of the channel. The only way I see an opportunity to short the market is if we're to revisit the high here and retest the high and see some rejection at the top. That's the only way I kind of look for an opportunity which kind of fits the time frame I'm looking for. But for the most part, not a big fan of New Zealand dollar right now. We're in the middle of the channel. I would be pretty bearish, but not seeing much of an opportunity right now. In terms of gold, yeah, with gold being a little bit all over the place, we've been bullish for the past 24 hours. We are pulling back into an interesting area, which some shorts could look good, particularly more so on like hourly, maybe 15-minute even. But as you can see, we're approaching the up end of this channel here. This would be an area which, if we are going to sell off and form a lower high, this is kind of the area where I would expect it to happen. And if we are going to swing to the downside, I would expect to push back to the lows here. So I think this is a smart place for a short. At the moment, we're correctively pushing up. So it would be nice to see maybe a strong candle breaking through that to the downside. That could be a nice entry, stops above the high and targets back at the low. At the moment, we're kind of just correctively ascending to the upside. You probably see it a bit better if I drop to the 15. So you can see that kind of corrective nature on the way up. Perhaps a break of that would signal that, okay, the bears have kicked in. We're likely to push lower at that point and revisit the lows there as well. So gold, maybe a short-term sell opportunities on the cards. Again, I'm not a big fan of gold. The way I see it, the market is just ranging here. So personally, I'm just staying away in this area. I'm actually looking to see if price can run back to the lows here and then hopefully find some opportunities to take some buys off the back of that. But besides from that, gold just looks like a complete mess to me. No kind of real consistency with the price action, with momentum. So to me, it's just a very, very flat market. Overall, I'm pretty bullish on. You can still see the overall uptrend for gold. It's still kind of clear for all to see. So naturally, I'm still bullish bias for gold. And I think generally looking for buying opportunities makes sense, but it's just that we're very, very flat right now. So I would be very careful with these conditions. If we can return to lows, I think this would be a smart place for a buy. We'll see how price reacts, but intraday just looks very, very, very noisy to me. Not much consistency in terms of direction. And in terms of silver, pretty much the same story. Market's very flat there as well, as we can see. But I don't mind silver because the way I'm looking at silver is we've been in a long-term range for quite a while. Price has recently broken through that. We're forming another range here, but I've got kind of two clear opportunities which I'm looking at. Either the break and retest of this high, so the break and retest of that range, or price pulls back and retests this range here, which is where we kind of consolidated for quite a few months before we had the breakout recently. So onwards and upwards for silver, still very bullish on this one. The only way I would turn bearish is if price was to break underneath that area. Maybe not even turn bearish, but I would become a bit more neutral on the pair. But in terms of my ideas for getting long, A retest of 34.9 or a retest of 37.3 looks good. I'm not so keen about trading within the range, but if price sees some healthy momentum outside of that, that tells me, okay, the buyers are still in control. Let's wait for some pullbacks and follow some longs. Likewise with the retest of this area. So still very bullish on silver, still very bullish on gold. Just waiting on some clear-cut opportunities.